Okay, everyone, welcome to video 4. We're going to compute a 95% confidence interval for the difference in hours playing sports per day between boys and girls aged 7 to 11. So to be clear, we're working with the same data that we were working with when we did our hypothesis test. So if you need to, please go back and refer to that data. It will be recalled again when we start going into the calculator portion of this process. But remember, we do have the panic method when it comes to presenting our confidence interval. So as a reminder from the previous videos, P and A, P for identifying your parameter and your parameters and your random variable, and then going through your 4 assumptions. We already did that in our hypothesis test, so I'm just going to call that done. And if you need to, for your notes, you can always feel free to add in the note that, like, we did this in the hypothesis test, or see hypothesis test work, or something like that. So now that we've gone through that, and we already went through our assumptions, we know that we're still dealing with 2 samples, and we still don't know the population standard deviation. So in this case, we're going to say that we will be working with a 2-sample t interval. Now that we know what type of interval we're going to be working with, we're going to hop over to the calculator and take care of this step. And once we're done, we will hop back and finish the ick part of panic. All right, we're going to go ahead and calculate our 2-sample t interval now. So stat, over to tests, and then our 2-sample t interval is going to be all the way down at option 0. You don't have to scroll down to it. You could just press 0 if you know, if you remember that it is option 0. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. And again, it's going to carry over the information that you had entered when you were doing your 2-sample t test. So if you notice that we have the girl information in group 1, boy information in group 2, we do need to adjust our confidence level though. So our C level here. We want this to be a 95% confidence interval, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. Still no to pooled. We don't know if the population variances are equal to each other, so we're going to leave that as a no, and then we are going to calculate. And just like that, there is our interval up at the top of the screen. So we're going to carry this over and then move into our interpretation. Okay, so from our calculator, we were able to uncover that our interval runs from negative 0.9997 to positive 0.59971. So now that we have this information, we are able to go ahead and state our conclusion. Again, what I want you to do is go back to the conclusion that you had made in the hypothesis test, look at your null hypothesis, and see how it kind of aligns with the confidence interval that you created. Use this information in order to help you construct a statement about your confidence interval. So go ahead and pause the video, take some time, feel free to make a mess, maybe try 1 or 2 times if you don't like your first couple of attempts. And when you are ready, go ahead and press play, and we will talk about the statement. Okay, so hopefully you've had enough time in order to work on your concluding statement. So we would want to say something like the following. Our 95% confidence interval contains 0. So just to note, since one number is negative and the other number is positive, 0 has to be somewhere in between them. As a result, we can conclude if there is a difference in hours played by boys and girls ages 7 to 11. So again, if you kind of look back in your hypothesis test, we said that we failed to side with the alternative, which said that there was some sort of difference. So as a result, we stuck with our null, which claimed that we still believe that boys and girls play the same amount of hours, which means that 0 would be contained in your confidence interval. All right, so we are going to move on to video 5. I believe that my numbers are correct. and we're going to have you try one of these problems on your own, but this time with data. So head on over.